Hey everyone, welcome back to the Track Limits podcast presented by Formula Addict. We are here in London, the Outset Studios in London Bridge. I am Fevin, your host, and I am joined by my co-host Niru.
Hello.
And today's guest is a presenter and content creator in Formula E, World Endurance Championship. She is one of the hardest working creators who has built her brand through a commitment to putting herself out there. Yes. Oh. So please welcome Alexa Rendell.
Thank you so much for having me, guys. That's quite I feel like I have to say something really grand after you give me an introduction like that. And I don't really know where to go from that.
We are excited for you to be here and to bring and show who you are and how you've built your career and brand. We're so excited to have you.
I'm super excited to be here.
Yeah. Finally get to meet you as well.
I know. We've been running in the same circles for time. We've never had a chance to meet.
Exactly. Yeah. One of my first ever posts I actually did on LinkedIn about her success was about her and what she's done over the past couple of years. So
damn, this guy's too nice.
No. It's just really supporting, trying to showcase who's sort of up and coming. So yeah.
Appreciate it.
Of course.
So basically my intro wasn't as great as his.
No.
No further commentary on that.
She's like, I've had media training.
I'm not taking sides this early on in the podcast, guys.
No, we work as a team. You're fine, but you don't worry about it. So in this podcast, we kind of divide our podcast into different sectors or sections or qualifying sessions. So we're gonna get straight into Q1 where we get to know you a little bit around your career and who you are as a person, and then the final will be a very rapid fire. Okay. Let's see how you do. Maybe you'll get pole. I don't know. Let's see.
I hope so. Getting a little bit competitive now all of a sudden. You guys made this a challenge.
Exactly. Okay, so are we ready to go into Q1? Right. All right. So, Alexa, tell us about your career so far.
That's a very open question.
Yeah, literally in 30 seconds then.
Like, what are some highlights?
Yeah.
I think the one thing that a lot of people don't know about me is that I never went to university. And so I trained in TV production when I left school, when I left sixth form, which is high school for you guys?
Yes.
Yep.
So when you were like 17, 18?
Yep. When I was 18, I went and started working for a media company. That was how I trained. So I worked on the Premier League for a couple of years. I did every job under the sun that they would let me do. I made tea, coffee. I learned to write scripts. I learned to edit. And that has set me up so well for what I do now. And I, firstly, side note, can't recommend that kind of thing enough to anyone, especially in the UK looking to get into media, because it was the best thing I ever did for my career. Then whilst I was there, I got involved in the Formula E Open Talent Call competition because I knew I wanted to do presenting. I'd done a little bit in my past.
Yeah.
I like talking about cars. So that was very much up my street. And then from there, I met the right people. I eventually got my first job doing TikToks for Extreme E.
Yeah.
But I kept pestering them like, hey guys, what if I presented these videos for you? What if somebody was on the Instagram stories? And one thing led to another. And here we are now working for, World Endurance Championship and Formula E as my two primary clients in motorsport.
Love that. And what's on the horizon for you in 2024?
A busy year.
Yeah.
Chaos.
Yeah. Chaos. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's the most exciting time for me in my career this far. The World Endurance Championship and Formula E are two of the fastest growing motorsports, nay, sports in the world right now.
Yeah.
That to be involved in those, I'm trying to put as much time and effort into learning about their history, seeing where we're going in the future. So I'll be doing both those championships for the full season. It works really well because lots of our drivers do both those championships, which means that I'm jumping around the same as they are. And they're completely different environments. And I'm so excited to get involved with them. And
you mentioned just that you kind of started in the Premier League. Were you always interested in motorsport? Like, did this kind of evolve over time? Obviously, Premier League, very different. I mean, it's maybe similar audience, but different. So just walk us through kind of your journey into motorsport as a whole.
I hate to do the whole stereotypical thing of it was my dad, but I remember him watching Formula One back on the BBC back in the day. And if I ever wanted my dad's attention, I had to just sit in the living room with him and put up with the F1.
Yeah.
I would fall asleep and wake up when the commentary got good.
Yeah.
And eventually I stopped falling asleep and realized that this thing was quite fun. So I never thought I saw myself working in it. I wanted to do journalism.
Yeah.
But when it came to applying for apprenticeships, I knew that university, I was applying for all sorts of history degrees and things. I don't know, I just wanted to do something. I learned about apprenticeships, so I applied for kind of a bit of everything, traditional news, and then I fell into this one in sports production. But it took me back to that age when I was 12, 13. And for me, it was actually the Olympics that made me realize I could work in sport. It was the first time I saw other women in sport, particularly on camera, but also I remember looking at the credits and seeing women's names and going, hang on, I could do that. So I sort of drifted away from that, but fell back into it. And then I realized, hang on, this motorsport thing's pretty cool. I want to be back over there. I loved it when I was a kid.
Yeah.
I want to be back there.
Oh, that's beautiful.
Amazing. In terms of like, oh, sorry, you're going to ask.
No, I wasn't. I was just going to say I had a funny anecdote in that I watched Premier League growing up because my dad, to get his attention on the weekends, it was sit down and watch the soccer.
Who was his team?
Oh, like Arsenal, and it kind of evolved over time, and it was Arsenal and then Man U, and then
and there were good days for that, right?
Yeah, very good days, and those are like the top 2 teams for like most African households, and then maybe Chelsea like later in when I was in like high school or much older, so that was later on in life.
So
but
cool.
yeah, anyways, going back to motorsports. Sorry.
Amazing. Side tangent from football and soccer.
The footy.
In terms of presenting, in terms of in WEC or in Formula E, and having some experience in F1 as well, what's sort of like the typical day for you, and how do you sort of compare the two in terms of presenting styles? Is it different? How do you sort of approach it?
There is no typical day,
okay,
for sure. It really varies from championship to championship because almost what I'm hired for in each championship is slightly different, and that's actually literally it. If I'm hired as a content creator, it can be the most manic day because particularly in the WEC, for example, I'm thinking Le Mans, I'm up from 7 a.m. and I'm not sleeping again till 7 p.m. the following day. Yeah. Okay, maybe a 2-hour nap in there somewhere, but you are going the whole time, running from filming the pit lane to filming in the grid to going up in a helicopter to film from above. It's one of the coolest experiences and it's the most manic. When it's presenting for Formula E, there's a little bit more downtime, for example, that we have to be preparing for the interviews, thinking of the questions. For me, I'm doing research, and that research can be quite literally anything. That I'll be stalking the drivers' Instagrams to see what they've been talking about lately. I'll be reading news articles and other interviews that they've done to know where their train of thought's at. I'll be going back and watching their old overtake videos from previous races there. It truly varies on who I'm working for and what level of preparation and what's required from each client.
Yeah. And like earlier, I think going back to what you said, there was an open call for the, was it in Valencia?
Yeah, this was a long time ago.
Right. But how did that come about, and how did you, or like even just like getting your kind of role now within the Formula E as a presenter, just walk us through, like if somebody is watching right now and who wants to follow the path. I know you mentioned the apprenticeship, but what was that experience like, the open call, and like what advice would you give for somebody in trying to do the same thing?
Take any opportunity that comes your way, because this was something completely unfamiliar to me. The Formula E talent call, for anyone who doesn't know, it was essentially like an X Factor for Formula E presenters.
Okay, good way to put it.
It kind of summarizes it. So there was a couple of hundred of us that applied, and you had to enter a video of you doing some presenting. Yeah. At the time, my idea was, right, I'm gonna make a TikTok for them. I'm gonna make a TikTok explaining a little bit about my knowledge of Formula E, pretending to interview drivers to show them what I could do. But TikTok was really new at that point, so it showed them that I had a slightly different skill set. I got to the final 4 of that competition, and we were given some mentoring over Zoom. We then were flown out to Valencia testing, where, I don't know, it's like judges' houses almost, if you know what I'm getting at, where we all went out there. It was myself and 3 other contestants, and we got to interview drivers. We were given masterclasses by the commentators, the presenting team. We were given so much access, and I cannot credit Formula E enough for the time and the effort they put in to helping all of us. Because I think all of us are now well on our way, or 4 of us are in that final, we're well on our way to careers in motorsport or more generally in presenting. And for me, certainly, that event really gave me the confidence to go forward. And that was actually how I then got my first job in motorsport, that the agency, we'll probably end up talking about it later, the agency that looked after Formula E social media at the time then got the contract to do Extremies, and they knew I'd made a TikTok to enter this competition. So when they needed to hire somebody to make TikToks for the sister championship Extreme, they said, you should be applying for this. And I went, hell yes, this is absolutely up my street.
That's so crazy. And was that just a one-time thing?
Yeah, it's a one-time thing, but I think I've seen very similar things coming along since. For example, I think DHL did a commentary competition, or they do that almost every year. If you can just just take the opportunity when these things arise, right? That you might think, oh, I might look a bit silly, or I might not get anywhere. I cannot tell you the amount of things I've applied for over the years and not got it.
And are these over social media that you're seeing it, just so that people have the resources?
Social media, or I think I'm subscribed to a few email lists.
Yeah.
Take a look around on Twitter. There are people sharing media jobs all the time on Twitter. even though I'm not really applying for anything, I still follow these accounts because I think when you're working in sport, working in the industry, having a general idea of which way the industry is going is also so helpful to know. Are loads more digital roles being hired? Are loads more golf roles being hired? Like, where is sport booming right now?
Yeah.
Just having knowledge of that, even when you're not actively applying, has been so helpful.
Even in my, I guess, in just the followers or the people that I follow, I've noticed such a shift in terms of just a lot of the creators in the motorsport world doing a lot more in Formula E, doing a lot more with other series, Indy, NASCAR, more lately. And so it is interesting, as you said, just more surrounding yourself with the creators and following and just sharing ideas. But for anyone who is an F1 fan, let's say, we're all F1 fans. I have to admit, I've only watched bits and pieces of Formula E. I have not gotten into it. I do. That is part of my goal this year. What would be the argument that how would you convince someone to kind of sway them into Formula E?
Give us a day, right? Formula E happens all in one day. That's one of the best parts of it. You have a free practice session in the morning, then qualifying, and then the race. The race isn't that long. The qualifying format, I think, is arguably the best qualifying format in motorsport right now. Just give it a day. See how you get on, because it's the most action-packed, bonkers, crazy championship that I think quite possibly you'll ever get your teeth stuck into. There's always chaos going on. It's never the driver that you really think who's going to be on pole that is on pole. And anyone not familiar, I think it's the qualifying format that sells it right now. We have something called the duels, where you have the grid split in two groups of 11, and the top 4 drivers, they're given 10 minutes to set the fastest lap that they can. At the end of that 10 minutes, the top 4 drivers from each group start going head-to-head in a knockout format to step P8 to P1 on the grid. So you eventually, you more or less only have 2 laps to get through the group stages. And then it's that pressure of you have 1 lap to make this count. Otherwise, you could be starting 8th, or if you keep going, you can be starting 1st. It's the most exciting, tense thing. You can have teammates going head-to-head. You can have old rivals going head-to-head. And sometimes the pressure gets them because they can bin it on that qualifying lap and suddenly they can't even take part in the race. Yeah. There is so much pressure. Because it's all one day. There's no, you can't turn around a car and get it fixed up for the race. If you properly trash it,
you're done.
So it's such a high pressure environment. I swear, I'm squealing at the TV every time. When we're sat in our office watching this and I'm making my notes to talk about it later, covering my eyes. And then the race is always brilliant with the way attack modes changed this year.
What has changed? Sorry?
Attack mode. So
attack mode. Okay.
It's, for anyone not familiar, again, you have to drive offline and it gives you a power boost to mean that you can go faster for a certain amount of allotted time. It's really, really strategic that you don't know how much time you're going to be given. You can split it up into different chunks of time. You can take 2 minutes and then 6 minutes, 4 minutes and then 4 minutes, or it's just crazy. And once you start delving into that, for the people who are like, oh, it's just electric cars going around in circles. No. There is so much more to it than that.
That's what I used to think about before I became an F1. I was like, when my husband used to watch it all the time, I'm like, what are you doing watching cars go in circles? He's like, man, it's not.
It's not the same thing.
It's really not. Yeah.
I'm sure it must be difficult to stay unbiased when you're watching these people go past. No comment? Okay, we'll move on.
No, the thing is, it actually is, because you start getting to know everyone. Yeah. You start getting to know everybody who you work with. And actually, you feel really passionately about, I feel passionately about the storylines. I really care when I see a driver who's been having a really tough season and you see them start going up to the front. Because if nothing else, you know that's an amazing story for the weekend. You're excited for the driver because you've got to know them a little bit. And you know the fans are going to love this. Yeah. That's something you can talk about and you can tell them about going forward. You feel a little bit biased, but not in the way that perhaps you might think. Not that we have favorites, it's the stories I love to see.
That makes sense. Yeah, that makes sense. Going back in terms of your career-wise, you were at Little Dot Studios for a while, and then you slowly transitioned to freelance world. So how was that transition for you? Because it's not easy all the time, especially in motorsport. How have you sort of cope with doing that now?
It was a big jump. It was a scary jump to go from being with an agency to a team. But I was lucky that agency really, really looked after me. They gave me a lot of help with learning how to operate in motorsport. That actually, I think moving into motorsport in the first place was the biggest jump for me. That this sport operates quite differently to any other sport I've worked in, particularly with the amount of travel that you do. Yeah. I truly believe you have to be quite a people person to not only do well in motorsport, but actually enjoy working in it, because you're going to be dumped in the middle of nowhere with sometimes quite a small team. And if you guys don't get along, it's going to be a really long weekend.
Yeah.
So you have to be able to get along with people. And I think Little Dot really taught me that, about how to immediately jump into a new team, get working on things. And so when I became a freelancer, I already had very similar clients that I went from working with Formula E at an agency to just doing it in-house. And the World Endurance Championship, I was using my holiday from Little Dot to do that before I took the jump into going freelance.
Amazing. Okay.
So now for me, being a freelancer, the one thing I'm having to learn is to manage my time when I'm not on site. That's something I'm still getting used to, that I'm so used to having a 9-to-5 office job that suddenly once you finish a race weekend, you're like, okay, now what do I do? So that's taking some getting used to, but I'm trying to build up that routine of just getting so invested in the sport that you feel like you know everything. You can never know everything, but you feel like you know enough.
You know enough than the average person.
Yeah, like you do research or whatever, or just chill out, hang out, decompress.
Sometimes.
Yeah. Do podcasts like here. Exactly.
What do you find are like some of the unique challenges with working in sort of electric motorsport, Formula E, than compared to like a traditional motorsport?
Trying to get people to give it the time of day.
Mm.
That I think so many people write off electric motorsports so quickly. And I think you're wrong to do so. It's such a fun sport. There's so much drama, so much action. It's well worth giving us the time of day. Like I said, give us a day.
Give us a day. Yeah.
Give us a day. That's all
It's
it
very
takes.
non-committal. It's only a day. There aren't.
Yeah.
It's not like a 3-4 day weekend.
Yeah.
It's just one day.
Even if you want to watch the race, it's normally done within kind of an hour. You get a little bit of build up, a little bit of the post-race shenanigans. You're set. You don't have to give us much time, but I think you'll be pleasantly surprised.
Do you think something like a Drive to Survive, like documentary or something?
We actually have one. It's just come out. It's called Unplugged.
There you go.
The final episode of the season has just come out last night on YouTube.
Oh, on YouTube? I was like, where?
Yeah, it's on YouTube. These
Okay.
15-minute episodes.
Oh,
It'll give you such an insight into each of the drivers' personalities. There are some really, really fun young drivers in our championship. Some quite notorious names as well.
Yeah.
But the final episode, I swear, I watched it just as we were getting on the plane to go to the first race of the season, and I was so excited to go back to work. It reminded me of the drama and the passion in Formula E. It followed our season finale at the London EP last year.
Oh, amazing.
Where it was chaos. It was a championship deciding weekend. It was the home race for one of our championship contenders. It was Jake Dennis who ended up winning the championship, but it followed his story and the rivalry he had with the Porsche team, which is his sister team, if that makes any sense. And I can't express how good that episode is. It's
definitely going to be downloaded for these upcoming flights that we have.
Yeah.
I'm excited. It's really, as I said before, like it's a series or the championship that I really want to get into, and I've always also noticed so many people, like as I mentioned, creators in this space, and it's got to be something to it.
My top tip is just pick a couple of drivers and back them. It's quite overwhelming as a championship when you're trying to get into it and you see 22 drivers and you're thinking, my God, where do I start? Pick a driver, pick a team. Maybe you know them from F1. Maybe you're from the same country as them.
Exactly.
Maybe you just like the vibe.
Yeah.
But that's all you need to just get yourself in there. And to be honest, once you found one driver, you'll find that, especially in Formula E, like there's a little group of them that are all like best friends.
Okay.
Aww.
It's actually quite funny.
Family.
There's maybe 8 of them that all live in Monaco together.
Aww.
And they're always hanging out together. And it's kind of funny when you're like just working and suddenly you're like, why are those two going for coffee on a Saturday morning? Aren't you guys like arch nemesis? No. They actually all get along really well. So you'll find that there's a lot of similar personalities and people that you're like.
Oh, I love that. And talking about your, like, just creating content and putting it out in the universe and leaving it up to everyone's opinions. Do you ever get any like negativity on social media or any I don't know, just opinionated people?
Yeah.
All the time.
Yeah. And
how do you cope with it? Do you interact with the trolls or do you? No.
I learned a long time ago to stop checking my Instagram DM requests.
Yeah.
That they can be mean. People are mean, but also they have their opinion and everyone's entitled to their opinion. And sometimes people who tell you they don't check the YouTube comment section lie, right? Like you kind of get nosy about what people think. And actually I have learned, people can be really mean, but I have learned important things about the way I present and what to tone down, what to improve from those comments. But you just have to take everything with a pinch of salt.
Yeah.
If you wouldn't take that piece of advice from a friend or someone in real life, if a stranger came up to you and went, awful today. If you wouldn't take their opinion, why would you take it online?
Yeah.
So I tend to try and avoid the really mean stuff where it's just about your appearance. But if people have constructive criticism, I'm open to it. I think actually we all want to improve. It's just the way it's delivered sometimes can be
1,000%.
pretty brutal.
Yeah. 1,000%. People can be ruthless. And I even for us, we welcome constructive feedback, and often we do look our comments, one, just to engage, but also, there's some people that are out there just want to say things behind a keyboard and we just ignore it. But I've always thought about like females, especially in this space, in a male dominant, I guess, industry where we're trying to create our own space. And I'm always mindful of there's probably a heightened level of negativity that might come our way. So if any female creators are out there, take your advice.
It's a really silly thing, but I actually noticed this recently that with one of the channels I work on, if I have my hair in a ponytail, I get hate comments.
Sorry?
If I have it down, nobody bothers me. And it's such a weird thing. I think there's an appearance thing there that I don't know if it's how I look or what it is, but
Really?
That's really weird.
yeah, I've noticed it quite heavily lately. And I'm like, I hate that I'm judged on that as a woman. And that is very annoying when you feel like you're being judged on your appearance as opposed to what you're saying. But like, I'm dropping some banging insight here, guys. You're missing out if you're just looking at the way I look today.
Oh, that's so frustrating because that's always the case, especially, and again, whenever you're working in a male dominant space, whether it be in motorsport or in a corporate setting, like often it's the superficial piece is the first kind of barrier that you have to kind of get past. And then maybe if you have some validity to you, then people listen to you. And but I think, I guess in contrast to that is like the more that we are here and the more we are doing this type of work and other women are kind of, or just people of different backgrounds are coming into the spaces, it becomes a norm. It just takes time.
I can't express to you how much things have changed in the 3-4 years I've been working in motorsport. That I'm quite lucky that all 3 main championships I've spent my time on, so Extreme E, World Endurance and Formula E, have different levels of female representation, but I've seen them all improve. Extreme E was incredible because that's a 50-50 split between drivers, male and female.
Yep.
For them, I will never forget the progress I've seen in their careers from that first or second race where I met the female drivers. The opportunities they've been given through being given that platform in that championship has been really, really great. And the male co-drivers who've had a bigger audience, a bigger platform, have been working with them to increase that.
Yeah.
Likewise with Formula E, we're not there on the driver front yet, but behind the scenes, there's more women working in it than I think in any other championship I work on. And in the World Endurance Championship, we have some badass female drivers.
Yeah.
They are kicking ass and through their own merit. They're not there to tick a box. They're there because they're good, they're quick, and I can't wait to see where they all go in the future, especially.
Love that.
That's amazing. Yeah.
I mean, I did have a quick question about the AI and
Hit
the
me.
world. I mean, we don't have to kind of get into it too much, but like just in the world of whether it be through technology, within the actual like cars themselves and like the mechanics of it, as well as the data and just on the content level, like where do you think the AI's place is and like the future, how AI will be integrated in not just Formula E, but the world of motorsport?
AI is super scary to me.
Yeah.
Because I'm like, could it take my job one day? I truly wonder that. And however, I still use it to this day. I remember at 2:00 in the morning at Le Mans, I was absolutely stuck for ideas. So I went to ChatGPT and asked what questions do people have about Le Mans? And it gave me some really, really good suggestions for what people were Googling. And I was using that in my content to try and find new storylines to tell people. And I have conversations with engineers and they're using it for modeling and trying to work out how to make the car go quicker. So it is already being utilized in motorsport. In terms of where its place is going forward, I've got a clue. It's such a new topic, such a broad topic. I think we're going to make mistakes along the way. I think there have been mistakes along the way, but I think we will get there and we'll find the right balance going forward. And hopefully it won't take my job.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of scary because I have seen somebody on LinkedIn who I know, I don't remember who it was, but anyways, they had like a video of an AI generated video of themselves. It sounded like this person and it talked like this person, mannerisms.
Yeah.
It's terrifying.
It is.
Yeah.
I almost scrolled past it and I'm like, hang on, why is this? I just knew the mannerism. Like it looked odd, but it looked real too. And this person is a creator, and I was just thought, wow, like this is going to be crazy if this goes into like we could do a podcast from our computers at home.
Yeah.
Essentially, that's basically what it might come down to. But anyways, it is scary. I don't think it's out here to. I think AI could be used as alongside as opposed to replace, and I hope that's the direction that we're going.
Go through. Yeah, I mean, it helps probably a lot with the content ideas if you end up utilizing it properly.
Yeah.
But in terms of your side for the content creation aspect, you're quite close to the championship in terms of the WEC and Formula E. How would you go about suggesting to them, how we want to kind of grow this fan base and use essentially the rising tide that F1's having right now? How do we go off the coattails of that and grow our championship as well?
In terms of using AI, or is that a separate?
AI, content creation, just in general, in terms of growing the fan base in general,
I think that we've been having this conversation a lot lately.
Yeah.
That motorsport itself has grown massively in the last few years. I think the WEC especially, I noticed it the most at Le Mans last year. It was a sellout. The attention around it was huge. And I think my whole challenge within my role of doing content creation and presenting, there's two levels of audiences you're speaking to, right? You're talking to the people who've never heard of your championship.
Yeah.
They know who Ferrari are in Formula One. But what's this weird looking big car you've got racing in the WEC WEC? Why should we be bothered about this? It's trying to explain it to them, but then also telling the fans who've been following endurance racing for years what's going on in the sport and championship they love, and not alienating them because we're always appealing to the new fans. That's the really tricky balance that we've been trying to strike lately. And I feel like, particularly with social content, when I'm going to ChatGPT and asking, God, what are people asking about the WEC? I'm trying to make sure I'm hitting these new fans, understanding what they don't know. Because for me, I'm quite familiar with it now. I absolutely love endurance racing. It's heading into this incredible time right now. But I want to make sure we're not leaving anyone behind, because guys, you want to be riding this wave with us.
Yeah.
But again, it's not alienating those other fans. So we've got to get into the nitty gritty details of the bronze, silver and gold drivers, who's going where, why should you care? That's the major challenge in motorsport content creation for me right now.
And like with more, as you said, like that YouTube series, but also like the more visibility there is, whether it be being broadcasting it or just access to these races and at the mass level, kind of like what Drive to Survive did, as well as what I know like F1 Academy will be doing this year. I think it's just going to be great. The more people that have eyeballs on it and like resources sharing that, I know that's, I think for me, like sometimes I struggle. Where do I watch this? How do I watch it? Especially last year, for instance, with the F1 Academy, I'm like, where is it being streamed? Like it was insane. So anyways, I'm excited to see what the future of motorsport is. But just going back to you, last question really, what is the product, like the proudest you've been as a content creator, or like I'm gonna stop there.
I think the career highlight for me, I touched on it a minute ago, was last year's 24 Hours of Le Mans. We were there in Le Mans in France for 10 days. So the weekend before the race, you have what is called, oh my God, I've forgotten the name. So the weekend before the race, you have testing, there's scrutineering that's done in the city centre. The fans get to come down. And from the moment I arrived, I parked my rental car and I walked into the city centre of Le Mans, there were thousands of fans who'd come to see the scrutineering, had come to see these new cars. And I went, okay, lads, this is going to be something special. The race was a sellout. We had to do so much content around this. We were, again, like I was saying a minute ago, it's trying to make content for the new fans, trying to make content for the people who've been here for a long time, almost trying to do that whilst you're not getting much sleep throughout the week. Because the race itself, okay, that's pretty exhausting.
Yeah.
But you'll be having night practice sessions throughout the week and then coming back in for making sure you miss the traffic in the morning. So you won't be finishing a session till 1, 2 a.m. You go home, sleep for 3 hours, and then you're back in getting ready for qualifying the day after. It's such a long, intense week, but the numbers we did, the storyline, the feedback from the fans, and the way the race played out with so many different cars and teams leading it, it was utterly phenomenal. And I will never forget the moment being stood in the Ferrari garage when they crossed the finish line. Because there was a moment, oh my goodness, there was a moment in the pit stop where it looked like the car wasn't going to start. The final pit stop of the race, 23 hours and 20 minutes in.
That was,
My heart was here. I was there filming it, trying to hold my hand steady because I'm thinking, have I just filmed the moment that Ferrari lost Le Mans? And the coolness from the engineer on the pit wall is everybody just about managed to get the thing switched on, sent it on its way, final 40 minutes. And the other thing I remember from that, I've posted an Instagram story of that onto the WEC social media, and I felt really bad because I tagged a video. It was James Collado and Antonio Giovinazzi sat in front of me. They looked so nervous. God love them. I mean, I don't blame them. This is a career-defining moment, and they just want to make sure this car makes it to the finish line. Because as we know at Le Mans, the car can stop on the final lap and
you're done.
You're out.
Yeah.
So I tagged them in this Instagram story of them both looking so nervous. I saw both their phones buzz. They both looked down, kind of winced at the video, and then put their phone back. I was like, I'm so sorry, guys. Not to remind you how nervous you are, but I'm also broadcasting this to the world.
Yeah.
Felt incredibly guilty, but it was such a special moment to be part of.
I know.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, there's millions more.
No pressure, guys.
Yeah, like, don't screw this up for us.
What a moment for them to see it as they're watching it, being like, this is kind of meta.
Yeah, they're sat there just head in their hands, covering their eyes, just desperately willing the car to the finish line. Meanwhile, I'm here like, you guys are feeling pretty nervous, aren't you? As I was filming. But yeah, poor guys. But it's such an amazing experience.
That's epic. But yeah, I mean, that kind of wraps up Q1.
Yes. I mean, I did have a question on that. Sorry.
Yeah, it's okay.
How do you not get overwhelmed in those situations? Because you talked about being in scrutineering, everyone showing up. It's like there's a lot going on, especially at any, like, I've been to the Indy 500 or these big races. There's just an influx of emotion. This is a lot right now. How do you stay calm and collected during those moments?
Having a plan of attack, plan of action, knowing what you want. Going into a day, sometimes I will have a very prescriptive plan of what I want to get out of a day. For example, in Spa, we have a Belgian team. So I knew that I have a driver in that team who's particularly good at media. We spoke to him and we followed the Belgian team and that driver. It was Ferdinand Habsburg. He's got a great social following. Yeah. And I knew that we could just follow them through the day. And that was my plan. Other times, the plan doesn't always work, right? Yeah. That we were planning on following a team for the day and their car set on fire 25 minutes through practice. So we had to scrap that immediately. Having a backup plan then, right, okay, we're just going to tell the more generic story of practice. You need to have plan of attack, a backup to the plan of attack, and then you need to be good at flying by the seat of your pants when that also fails.
Yeah.
So when you're going into those scrutineering and there's hundreds of people around you, you need to know what you want, get it and get out, because you don't want to ruin their experience as well. That it's a real privilege to be allowed to stand in front of the barriers and get up close to these cars and have the team's mechanics trust to tell the story and tell it in the right way. And all of that whilst trying not to disrupt the fans who are around you. Yeah, get in, get out. Don't cause them any trouble. Yeah. And appreciate what you're doing and how lucky you are to be somewhere when you get there.
Quite the privilege indeed. Awesome. Okay. Now that we're officially wrapped.
Now we're officially wrapped. No more questions.
Now he's happy.
So, Niru?
You can give that green for now. Yeah. Not purple just yet. Yeah, I know.
I know. He's tough.
I'm tough.
What? Can I get like a what must be improved?
No, I'm gonna treat.
My teacher's pet's coming out.
Yeah, exactly. I'll tell you after the in the break what can be improved on, and then we'll move on.
No notes for me.
No notes for me. Yeah, exactly.
Awesome. All right, we'll see you in Q2, or I guess the rapid fire. Are you ready? All right, let's take a quick break, and we'll be right back. Guys, quick break. Michael, do you want to arm wrestle?
Not right now, but I will say I have noticed you've been getting a lot more fit, like a lot stronger as well.
Oh, absolutely. Because we're working with Tonal and we have one at home, I have been able to fit in workouts at all hours. Well, not all hours, but it's fairly convenient because it's at home and I don't have to travel and be in a sweaty gym and disgustingness. So it's been really, really fun and I love it. How about you?
Yeah, I love how convenient it is. And it's also, it tracks every rep and it learns from every rep. So it's powered by AI. So then it'll give you curated workouts for your strength and for your reps, which it's so easy.
It's quite adaptive, like so that it changes. Like if you need to kind of increase your weight load, it will increase it kind of like a program. So it's a personal trainer. I am a huge fan because sometimes I could just be lazy and not increase my reps or my strain levels. So this is a game changer for our household.
Game changer, and it could be a game changer for you out there as well.
Honestly, it is. And with that, because we are working with Tonal and we are loving it, right now, Tonal is offering our listeners $200 off your Tonal purchase with promo code TRACKLIMITS.
Wow.
That is tonal.com and use promo code TRACKLIMITS for $200 off your purchase. That's Tonal, TONAL.com, promo code TRACKLIMITS for $200 off. That's a sweet deal.
That's a great deal.
Hey everyone, welcome back to the Track Limits podcast. We are here with Alexa. We are going on to the rapid fire. We're going to see Nero gave Alexa
Green.
Yep. And we're going to see if she can improve.
Okay.
We're going to pepper you with some questions. Try to answer it as fast as you can. You really don't have to go that fast. Okay. We'll go back and forth. So we'll get started. Ready?
You've got me nervous. Okay, excited. Let's do this.
Okay. Which platform would you delete out of the bigger social media platforms?
Can I say Facebook?
No, that's not. That's no.
Twitter/X.
Okay, there you go.
Okay. Who is the greatest driver of all time across all series, in your opinion?
I'm British. Lewis Hamilton.
Hey, there we go. Yes.
Any racing memorabilia that you would like to own or currently own that you're very proud of?
One of my favorite things I currently own, I was given at the end of my first season in Formula E. Shout out to my friend Davide for helping me secure this. It's a visor that Oliver Askew had, a Formula E driver, and it's signed and it had a little message on it, and it still sits on my bookshelf now, and I love that piece.
That's great.
So
cool. And I do have a piece of Extreme E car. Yeah, it's like this big, but it's still mine.
Counts. Who has been the most interesting person you've met at a race weekend?
The most famous person I met was LeBron James, if that counts. I think I said all of 3 words to him.
Was that Le Mans?
Yes.
Yes, yeah.
And that was really, really cool.
Yeah.
But the most interesting was a woman called Jutta Kleinschmidt. She was the first ever woman to win the Dakar, and in season 1, she raced in Extreme E. And her story is amazing she was such a pioneering woman in motorsport. And I remember we got a car stuck in a sand dune when we were in Senegal.
Yeah.
And the boys couldn't fix it. And she was just like, come on. And jumps out the car, changes this tire, absolutely no issues. Yeah, she is the coolest woman, I think. She's up there with one of the coolest women I've ever met. Oh, and Christina Gutierrez. She won Dakar, but she's also a dentist. Tell me that's not so iconic.
What a crazy side hustle. Which one's the side hustle?
What is the side hustle?
Which one?
I don't know.
She's said the dentistry is the side hustle, probably.
Her stories are amazing. Both of them so cool.
That's amazing. Okay, if you had to choose another sport to create content in, which would it be?
One that I don't already work on?
Yeah, like another sport, maybe outside of motorsport.
Okay, so I also work on transparency. I work on football and I work on NFL right now. So that's good fun. Those sports are amazing. Hey, I just love sport. I'll talk about anything. Yeah. I think the big bucket list for me, I mentioned to you guys earlier that the Olympics were what got me into motorsport. Well, into working in sport. I want to go work on the Olympics one day. 2024 might be a stretch. 28, I'll be there. 28? That's the dream.
Yeah. I was like, we have one just around the corner.
Yeah. I'm pestering people.
What's the most unpopular opinion you have? Going to the list of what's not going to get me canceled.
You hit the cogs. That last year, the racing in Formula E and the World Endurance Championship was better than the racing in Formula 1 over the course of the entire season.
I could probably agree with you on that, actually.
I don't know if that's totally unpopular, but
no, I don't think so.
My hot take.
No, I know a couple of people that have said that to me as well. So you have fans in that. Best prediction for the 2024 F1 season.
Best prediction or bold prediction?
Bold, best, hot take predictions, whichever you.
Oscar Piastri will win a race this year.
Ooh, okay.
Yep, I agree with you.
We made that prediction last year as well, didn't
I
we?
think Swish.
Oh no.
No.
So we're just gonna keep making this
We're just gonna keep going.
Was it Swish who did that?
Mikey.
Michael.
Mikey.
Michael said that.
Yeah.
Yep. Okay. Yep. Go ahead.
Outside of work, what's your favorite addiction?
Oh no. I am a big fan of crisps.
Okay.
Oh.
Like, I don't think people get, I will try any flavor crisp. I just think they're the best thing in the world. And I really have to restrain myself because I will eat them all in one go. So if you want to win me over, bring me a fun flavor bag of crisps.
Okay.
Have you had
That is what you meant by addiction, right? Like, what's
That-
well,
exactly,
Well,
yeah,
obviously.
yeah.
No, like, yeah, of course.
Something
But
rogue.
Ketchup chips, have you had that from Canada?
Weird. They're kind of a bit too vinegary for me. Like, they're giving prawn have you guys had prawn cocktail crisps?
Yes.
No, I haven't. No.
At the
You need to try those.
need to try those?
We'll source some.
Okay.
Yeah, like they serve them at the pubs.
Salt and vinegar is more common, but you get the odd prawn cocktail.
Yes.
Interesting. Okay.
There's a pub, the Roundhouse.
In Wandsworth.
Yeah.
I love that pub. We'll discuss this after. Excellent pub choice from you.
It is. I'm pretty sure they have them there. Most embarrassing moment you've had creating within the motorsport world, or creating content in this world.
I won't say who, but I did once ask a very well-known driver how to pronounce their name, and I should have known. I was so young, and I was like trying to fill, and I was like, do you definitely pronounce your name like this? And he kind of gave me this look like, you're really asking that?
Oh no.
Yeah, I was a baby. I panicked, and I still cringe when I think back to that now. Fortunately, we still work together, and he's actually delightful, and I don't think he remembers. I will never forget.
Yeah, you will never forget.
Yep.
He doesn't remember.
That's not the kind of question you should be filling with, Alexa. Not a good idea.
What's the weather like?
Neymar, sunny, innit?
Yeah.
Hang on, that's a very British joke. Sorry.
I know, I got you.
Okay.
I'm trying to follow up here. I feel like you've already answered this question, but if you could have one food for the rest of your life, what would it be?
Oh, actually, not crisps.
Okay.
Roast dinner.
Roast dinners? Okay.
Yeah. Have you had a good roast whilst you've been in London town?
Not yet, but I feel like we'll do that at the end of our trip, perhaps.
I think you need to.
We need to. Yeah.
Good gravy. Have you had to have a Yorkshire pudding?
No. I mean, bring in the
I
recommendations.
lived here for
You
a
lived
little
here.
bit.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay. So you need to try Yorkshire pudding. You need to get on
Yeah.
this. Stuff's incredible.
I feel like you're on her side more now.
Yeah. What do you mean?
Again,
She was always on this side.
You're on her. She's on the better side now.
She's always been here, my guy.
girls go stick together.
That's
man.
true.
Exactly.
That's true. Yeah.
And speaking of guilty pleasures, what is your favorite guilty pleasure TV show?
That is like I haven't watched it in time, but I loved Teen Wolf when I was younger.
Oh wow.
And that still has a special place in my heart.
Really? Wow, I haven't thought about that in a while.
We've been watching Vampire Diaries for non-stop at the house.
Why?
So,
I
I mean,
don't ask.
who introduced it to us? Swish. Oh,
Yeah.
Henny did. Sorry, Henny did. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Good,
That-
All
big
blamed
nod for
her.
the Vampire Diaries over
exactly.
It's great to relive my teenage years.
there. Vicariously through vampires. Excellent.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
If you were stuck on an island with a current F1 driver or Formula E driver, who would it be and why?
I'm thinking Formula E driver I'm going to go for here. He's the most outdoorsy one I know, and I would say Antonio Felix da Costa.
Okay. Yeah.
He seems to always be outside doing something like crazy, wild, or adventurous, and he's a good laugh. I figured
Yeah.
he'd probably be like at least keep me entertained if whilst he's out like surfing and like hunting for fish or something. I don't know.
Yeah.
Good vibes.
Good survival instincts, I hope.
Yeah, that's kind of what I'm
Exactly.
going for.
Exactly.
I'm sure he'll correct me and be like, mate, I'll just die on this. Hey, at least we'll have a laugh whilst we're doing it.
Exactly. At
Exactly.
least we'll cackle.
Yeah.
Okay. Last one here. You're writing an autobiography on your life. Which of these titles resonate best with you? The Daredevil, the Dreamcatcher, the Free Spirit, or the Hardest Worker?
Dreamcatcher.
Why is that?
Because I feel like I'm still chasing a dream I had when I was 5 years old, and we're still looking for that.
Yeah, I
Amazing.
like that.
That's a great answer.
That's it.
Yeah.
Okay, Nero.
Okay. Now's the question. I'll give it purple. Yeah. Yeah.
Pole.
You got a purple. You got a pole. You got a pole. I was contemplating giving green, but yeah.
Oh my.
I sort of feel like I saw your mouth heading towards like green, and I was like, no.
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 Don't you dare,
She
dude.
definitely earned it.
Let me go back. Yellow. No.
No.
No. Purple. We'll keep it to purple. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Yeah.
No, but that's pretty much wrapping up our time here. Thank you so much for joining us, Alexa. It was so good to have you and get your perspective on Formula E, WEC, and just a different side that we're not often talking about, but we'd love to. So where can people find you?
Ooh, that's a good question. My socials are at Alexa Rendell, but you'll see me running around in the Formula E paddock, the WEC paddock.
Yes.
Come join us. We're having a lot of fun over there, I promise you.
Yeah, you'll see us there for sure.
Yeah.
We'll link all your socials below, everyone. People should obviously check out Alexa's socials. Make sure you follow, make sure you amplify, and yeah, give it a day, as she said. Just give it one day.
Give us a day.
Thanks, everyone. If you like this episode, make sure to like, comment, subscribe, share with your friends, do everything that makes podcasts and us creators happy. Thanks again for joining us, and that's a wrap.